audio source. I see mic and aux, but down mix to mono. Nope, that's not what it is. Okay, someone suggests Soundflower. Okay, I've heard of this software. Maybe I need to get this. Okay, yeah, I have no freaking idea what I'm doing. So, Soundflower it is for the next time then. Okay, but the Zim audio is absolutely unimportant right now because I'm not going to give a demo of the X-Plane 11 sound engine because I have no freaking idea how this works. This is actually done by Chris Serio. He gave a live demo of the X-Plane sound engine at the Flight Sim conference in Hartford this year. There is a video recording of this presentation with Chris showing off the new sound engine and what it can do. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on YouTube. It's an okay quality video recording of the presentation they gave. I will not be showing off any other exciting X-Plane features like the new audio engine or the new user interface or whatever. I'm just going to do a few approaches using the GPS, showing you a few features that you probably don't even know exist, showing you a few things in approach plates and some IFR stuff that you probably have never heard of. And yeah, I'm going to fly a couple of approaches here using the GPS, and we'll see. Okay, so what does the chat say? Soundflower. It's crappy, but the only thing we got. Okay. Yeah, that the Flight SciTech asks a very good question. So what this is running here is neither X-Plane 11 nor X-Plane 10.5. This is one of the many development branches of X-Plane. You know, there's a lot of people working on X-Plane at the same time, and everyone works on a different feature. So Tyler works on the new user interface. Chris works on the sound engine. And Ben works on PBR, the rendering engine, physics-based rendering, new lights, new water, 3D water, shaders, tessellation, all that stuff. And while everyone is working on their little project, we are trying not to disturb the other ones, because every time Ben changes something in the rendering engine, other stuff breaks, and when Tyler changes something in the GUI, other stuff breaks, and so everyone is working on his own little branch, doing the changes, and occasionally we do what is called a merge. So whenever we think one particular feature or a little part of a feature or a sub-feature is stable enough that it doesn't disrupt development for other guys, we merge this feature into the master, and then everyone who works on X-Plane gets this particular feature, and so over time more and more features are integrated into the master branch. So what I'm running right now here is my personal feature branch of X-Plane, where I tinker with IFR and navigation and GPS stuff. Oh yeah, version control. Yeah, of course we use Git, like pretty much everyone else today. Okay, so yeah, so you will see little pieces that look familiar to you, other pieces that don't look so familiar to you. For example, if I just bring up the menu bar, you will immediately notice, oops, that looks a little different than what you are used to. All right, okay, but we're not here to play around. We are actually going to do a little IFR flight lesson. And what we are going to do is a circling approach. And this is actually something that you cannot do in X-Plane 10 right now for various reasons. And I'm going to show you what we're in for. So we are going to Nowheresville, North Carolina, to an airport with the identifier 5 Whiskey 4 PK Air Park. I have no idea why the airport is there or what it does. The only thing that we care about is this approach plate here. Let me bring that up and we'll look at the approach plate together. So yeah, instead of playing X-Plane, this is now X-Plane Fill playing FAA approach plates. Need to change the channel name for that, I guess. Ah, this is the zoom function. That was what I was looking for. Okay. Okay, what's happening in the chat? I really need someone to read the chat for me. This is getting a little complicated to do both things at the same time. Okay. Oh, Jack. Hello to you too. All right. So PK Air Park, North Carolina, wherever that is, all we care for is that it's near the Fayetteville VOR. And so the interesting thing about this approach plate, you will notice it has no runway on it. It says it's the VOR, DME, or GPS alpha approach. It's not VOR approach runway 13 or runway 22 or whatever. It just has an identifier alpha. And what that means is it's a circling only approach. So what that does is it brings you down to about pattern altitude, or what we see here, circling minima, in the general vicinity of the airport. It brings you into a position from where you can fly a circling or a traffic pattern actually to land on the most suitable runway. So if you see here, it's runway 4 and 22, but the final approach course is 282 degrees. So obviously, final approach course and runway direction have nothing in common. And this is actually something that, due to various limitations, we couldn't do in the X-Plane 10 GPS because every approach needed to have a runway, and also the way that Navigraph and Aerosoft encoded this kind of procedures didn't support that, and I completely rewrote the whole nav data stack of X-Plane, not only to support this, but to get a lot of interesting new functionality about which I really need to do a blog post. But right now, we'll just look into flying this approach and what it can do. Okay, and while I was preparing this yesterday, I stumbled across something that I thought was a bug. And I was searching and I was tearing my hair out trying to find the bug, which I discovered is not a bug, but simply the real world being stupid. And what you see here on the approach plate is that you have to fly the 282 radial out of the Fayetteville VOR. Okay, so you would expect that you fly a magnetic heading, or no, a magnetic track. If there's zero wind, you're flying a magnetic track of 282 degrees, right? That's what it says on the chart. That's what I thought. Nope, that's wrong. You are not flying a track of 282 degrees. What you're flying outbound on the 282 radial of the VOR, which kinda sorta should coincide with the magnetic track. but turns out it doesn't, because every VOR has what is called the slaved variation or station variation programmed into the VOR station, and that is not necessarily the same as the actual variation at this point. And this leads to a lot of confusion. So without further ado, let's just fly the approach. We are going to go to the Fayetteville VOR, take the 225 radial outbound, then join the 7 DME arc, fly the arc to a point called Casey, and then from Casey, as you can see down here in the profile, we can descend down to 1500 and then to the circling minima, just flying the 282 radial outbound until we hit the circling minimum of 820 feet. And then we just continue on 820 feet on the 282 radial until we hit 15.7 DME. And if we don't see the airport by then, we have to execute the missed approach. So let's do that. And put ourselves somewhere where it makes sense. Where the hell are we? So there's Fayetteville, that's good. And we're down here. Okay. I'll put us up to Fayetteville. There you go. Okay. All right, let me show you another example of this problem I just talked about. I'll get us a little bit further away from Fayetteville first, and then we'll track the VOR inbound. So, okay, we are going to do a direct to Fayetteville. There you go. Activate GPS and go. And let's actually put the VOR on our physical nav receiver. It's 108.8. Oops, there you go. I'm actually going to put it in nav2 so we can use both CDIs at the same time. That's better. Alright, here we go. Okay, what is the chat doing? The chat says something about Flight SciTech is now hosting me up for another viewer. Okay. Alright, I'll just continue doing my thing here. And okay, so we're flying inbound the Fayetteville VOR, and as I've programmed in the flight plan, we are going to leave Fayetteville to the Hockmoo intersection. So let's back out of this approach right here for a second and show you what I'm talking about. So this is the Fayetteville VOR. We put this in the flight plan, and we're going to this Hockmoo intersection here and put up the flight plan right here. And it says to fly the Victor 136 airway up here, we have to fly a heading of 009 degrees magnetic. Okay, sounds fair. Now, why does the GPS say we have to fly a heading of 013 degrees magnetic? That's a bug, huh? That's what I thought. No, it's not a bug. Thing is, 013 is the actual magnetic track from the Fayetteville VOR to the Hockmoo intersection. But on the chart here, the heading it lists, the 009er, is the radial of the Fayetteville VOR that you have to track. Because the Fayetteville VOR is slave to a magnetic variation of 4 degrees, which was accurate, I don't know, sometime in the 90s when they last calibrated this VOR. But since they did this, since the 90s, so much, the magnetic pole has shifted, and we are no longer, it is shifted by another 5 degrees. So what is actually the 009er radial, which used to be 0009er degrees magnetic in sometime in the 90s, is now 013 3 degrees magnetic track. All right, let's see what happens. I can show you this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going